Welcome to Night Stories.
Hello, friends. I know I'm just an average guy telling creepy stories, but if you like them and get the scare you're craving for, please leave a like and subscribe. Enjoy the stories. I was never supposed to be there. If you're reading this, you're already too close. I don't care if you stumbled across it by accident or came looking. That doesn't matter anymore. What matters is this. Once you know about the room, it knows about you. And once it knows you, you never get to leave. You can run, you can hide, but it will find a way to turn every screen into a window, and you will see what I saw. I didn't start off looking for anything evil. I wasn't some edgelord hacker or wannabe serial killer. I was just curious. I'd read too many forum threads. Late-night stories about the deep web, the places beneath even the worst parts of it. Not markets or drugs, not guns or stolen identities. This was worse. This was a place no one came back from. A place where people watched others suffer. Not movies, not stunts. Real suffering. Real blood. They called it the Red Room. I thought it was bullshit. Just one of those creepy legends. People say it exists, but nobody ever proves it. No links, no screenshots, no survivors. That last part should have been the warning. It started with a video. Grainy, shaky, a guy whispering like he was being hunted. Said he found the room. Said it changes depending on who's watching. Said he tried to leave. Said it wouldn't let him. Then he looked right at the camera and said something I'll never forget. You don't get to choose once you've seen it, it chooses you. The video cut to static. I should have stopped there. But something in me needed to know more. I don't know what it was. Curiosity, boredom, that same hunger that makes people slow down at car crashes. I followed the crumbs, hidden forums, encrypted addresses, conversations in languages I didn't understand. Eventually I found it, or it found me. There was no link, just a line of code that appeared in my terminal after I ran a crawler through the hidden directories. My screen flashed red once, then black. I waited. Nothing. I figured it was a dead end. Closed the laptop, went to bed. I woke up to screaming, not from outside, from the laptop. It had turned itself on. The screen was still black, but the speakers poured out a scream so high-pitched and full of pain it didn't sound human. I slammed the lid shut, but the sound didn't stop. I pulled the battery, cut the power. Silence. Then the screen turned red. No cable, no battery. It shouldn't have been on. But the red pulsed, like a heartbeat. I was frozen. Something about it. Just looking at it made my skin crawl, like I was being watched through it. Then the image shifted. It showed a room, concrete walls, a drain in the middle of the floor already stained dark, a single chair, leather straps, a bucket, a hacksaw, chains on the wall. I told myself it was fake, some kind of game, a video loop. Until the person walked in, they were young. Couldn't have been more than 20. Duct tape over their mouth, hands bound behind their back, limping, dragged by someone I couldn't see. The camera moved, but there was no cameraman. It felt alive, like it was choosing what to show me. What would get the best reaction? The person was forced into the chair. Straps tightened around their wrists and ankles. They cried behind the tape, the kind of crying that comes from real fear, not performance. Then a hand entered the frame, pale, gloved, holding a blade. Not a clean one. This thing was rusted, old, serrated. It pressed the tip against the captive's thigh and pushed. Slow, deliberate. The scream was muffled, but I heard it in my bones. Blood poured down their leg, thick and dark, pooling beneath the chair. Text appeared on the screen. Choose the next act. There were no buttons, no choices. But the screen waited. Like it already knew what I wanted to see. Like it could feel the disgust, the horror, the way I couldn't look away. The hand moved again, this time to the person's mouth. Peeled the tape off slowly. They tried to beg. They said please, over and over. Please don't, please stop. Please, I don't want to die. Another hand came into frame. This one held pliers. I watched the first tooth come out. It cracked. You could hear the root tearing from the gum. The person vomited all over themselves. The chair shook. The straps held. More text appeared. They deserve this, don't they? I tried to turn it off. I held the power button down. Nothing. I unplugged everything. Still, nothing. My screen stayed red. The room stayed visible. The camera moved. Now it showed a mirror. And in the reflection, I saw myself, sitting in my dark room staring at the screen. Except I wasn't alone. Behind me, something moved. A shape, tall, lean. Its hands rested on my shoulders. But when I turned, there was nothing. No one. Text again. You've been chosen. The stream cut to black. My laptop shut down. Completely dead. I threw it in the trash that night. Burned it in the fire pit the next morning. But that didn't help, because the next night, the screen in my living room turned on by itself. Red light, pulsing, and I knew it was back. This time it wasn't the same room. It was my basement. The same pipes, same paint stains on the floor, same broken shelf I hadn't fixed. A figure sat in the chair, bound, bag over their head, my tools laid out neatly beside them, pliers, hammer, blowtorch. I tried to move, couldn't. The screen glued me in place. The bag was pulled off. It was my brother. His eyes swollen shut, lips split open. He looked right at the camera and whispered my name. The screen asked again, "Choose the next act." I screamed, threw the remote at the TV. It shattered the screen, but the image remained. No glass, just the same pulsing red. I ran outside, drove away, miles and miles, parked in a different city, slept in the car. The next morning, my phone screen was red. It's been days, maybe more. I don't know anymore. I stopped keeping track. Every device I touch shows the room. Different people each time. Strangers. Sometimes people I know. I've seen things no one should see. Limbs twisted off, eyes boiled in sockets, skin peeled like fruit. It asks me every time, choose. I never do. I never click anything. But it doesn't matter. Someone else does. Someone's always watching too. I see the votes. I hear the laughter in the chat. Words typed by monsters. The worst part is this. It's growing. The last time I watched, there were more than one room. Dozens, hundreds. All live, all different people. And all the watchers, laughing, voting, participating. It's not hidden anymore. It's spreading. And once you know about it, it knows about you. You don't get to leave. The room comes back every night. Sometimes in your phone, sometimes in the reflection of your microwave. One guy I met said it came through a car screen. Another said it showed up on a smart fridge. Doesn't matter what you destroy. Doesn't matter how far you run, it follows. Because once you've seen the room, once you've been part of the pain, the room owns you. And one day it'll show you sitting in the chair, and someone else will choose. I stopped sleeping. That wasn't a choice. My body just refused. Every time I closed my eyes, the red light burned behind my lids. Every sound became a whisper from the stream. The worst part wasn't the fear or exhaustion. It was the anticipation. I knew it would return, and I knew this time it would want more. I moved again. Another city. New apartment. Paid in cash. No lease. No internet. I left every screen behind. No laptop. No phone. No TV. I covered the smoke detectors. I taped the peephole on the door. I stayed in the dark. The world outside faded. All I needed was to disappear. But you can't hide from what lives in every reflection. It came back on the third night. Not through a screen this time. Through sound. I heard a knock on the door. Not gentle. Not demanding. Just steady. Like someone tapping a finger. Slow and patient. I didn't answer. I stayed frozen in the corner of the room where there was no window, no mirror, no polished surface. The knock stopped. Then the air changed. It got colder, heavier, like I was underwater. My ears popped. The walls creaked. And then I heard it. The stream, but not from outside. It was playing inside my head. I heard the leather straps tighten. Heard the rattle of chains. Heard breathing, my breathing, shallow, panicked. And beneath it all, a voice, calm, low, cruel. You can't just watch forever. I clawed at my ears, screamed, slammed my head into the wall to make it stop. And then the red glow returned. This time it wasn't in a screen. It filled the whole room. The walls were bleeding. I swear they were. Thick black blood oozed from the corners like sweat. The floor rippled. A hole opened beneath me. Not a hole in the ground. A hole in reality. A tunnel of red light and iron. I was being pulled into the room. The real room. I don't remember walking. But I was standing in it. The same concrete walls, the same chair, only now it was empty. waiting. In the corner, a mirror hung crooked on a rusted nail. I saw myself in it, but not like I looked now. I saw a version of me that was calm, clean, watching with folded hands and a small smile. And next to the chair something waited. It had no face, just a black smear where one should be. Its body shimmered like oil slick, shifting constantly, never holding a form. But its hands were clear, long, bone white, and one of them held out an object. A knife. It didn't speak. It didn't need to. I knew what it wanted. Choose. In the shadows behind the chair, a shape stirred. I stepped closer, unable to stop myself. It was a girl, maybe 10, bound and gagged, tear-streaked. Her eyes met mine. She didn't scream. She didn't move. She just stared like she already knew what was coming. I dropped the knife. The faceless thing didn't react. It simply stepped aside. The walls around me pulsed. Images flickered in and out. Different rooms, different captives, different torturers. Some wept as they carved. Others laughed. A few were catatonic, moving like puppets. The chair existed in all of them. The pain was endless. The stream was forever. Then I saw one screen, different from the others. It showed me, sitting at home, watching, while the room played. Another screen. I was holding a hammer. Another, a branding iron. Another, a child's tooth in my hand, still warm. I turned away. The faceless figure held the knife again, patient, persistent. Choose. I ran. I don't know how. The door had no lock, but it opened, and I fell out into nothing. I woke up in the corner of my apartment, nails broken, blood under them, scratches on the floor like I'd tried to claw my way out of the room. But I had no screens, no internet, no devices. So how did the stream still follow? That night I found the answer. The scratching came first, not on the door, under my skin. I felt it just beneath my ribs, like something inside me trying to get out. I looked in the mirror, and I saw the red room playing in my eyes. Every blink brought flashes of it. Every time I looked away, I still saw it, and worse. I could feel the chair calling to me. The only place that felt safe was the bathroom. No mirror, no screens. I sat in the tub for hours, knees to chest, whispering to myself. But then I saw it, scrawled in blood across the wall. You're next. I don't know what this thing is. I don't know if it's digital or supernatural or something older. Something that grew inside the web like a tumor and now feeds on attention and pain. But I know it's real, and I know it won't stop. I started seeing others now, in public, on buses, on sidewalks, people with hollow eyes, twitching hands, red glows behind their pupils, survivors, players. Some of them smile when they look at me. Some of them mouth words I can't hear, but I know what they're saying. Choose. I met one last night. He followed me down an alley. Said he'd been in the game longer than most. Said eventually you either break and take the chair, or you help run the stream. Said the red room needs new blood. Said we all feed it now, even if we don't mean to. He offered me a way out. A real one. Said if I brought someone else in, willingly. If I made them watch the room and they didn't look away, the curse would transfer. He said that's how the infection spreads. One viewer to another. I almost did it. I had someone in mind. Someone who wouldn't be missed. Someone who once told me the red room was fake. But I couldn't. Because even as I thought about it, the room lit up behind my eyes and I saw something worse. I saw myself, smiling, holding the knife. And behind me was the chair. I thought I could live with it. I told myself if I didn't watch, if I didn't click, I'd stay clean. I'd sleep on floors in alleys, away from glass and screens. I wouldn't speak to anyone too long. I'd move every few days, keep my face covered, avoid eyes that watched too long or stared without blinking. I thought distance would matter. I was wrong. The red doesn't need a screen anymore. It's inside people. I see it in their eyes. I hear it in their voices when they speak too softly or too slowly. I feel it in the spaces between words. A tension. A tremble. Like they know something I don't. Or worse, they know exactly what I know and they're waiting to see what I'll do with it. I was walking past a storefront yesterday. Glass darkened, no lights on, supposedly empty. But in the reflection, the room was there. I could see the chair behind me. I could see the straps. And I could see someone in it. I turned. Nothing. Just concrete and dust. But when I looked back, the image was still there, only closer. I kept walking, didn't stop, didn't look again. That night I dreamed I was in the room again, except this time I wasn't alone. There were people on the walls, hanging by hooks, stripped of skin but still breathing, twitching. Their mouths were sewn shut, but their eyes followed me. Every single one of them. No blinking, just wet, raw eyes tracking my every step. And in the corner, the chair was rocking, not empty anymore. Someone sat in it, their head down, their hair matted with blood. I knew them. I knew the shape of their shoulders, the curve of their neck, the scar above their ear. It was me. I woke up covered in blood, not mine. There was a trail from the hallway. Faint, sticky. I followed it, even though every instinct in me screamed not to. It led to the door. A man lay there, his eyes gone. Mouth split wide, like it had been carved open from ear to ear. No phone, no wallet, just a key in his hand. My key. I locked the door and threw up until there was nothing left in me but fear. Later the stream returned. Not in a screen. In sound, in smell, in feeling. The room was behind the wall. I could hear the metal creaking, the whimpers, the soft buzz of something being sharpened. The air smelled like copper and heat. I pressed my ear to the plaster and heard breathing, ragged, wet. And then the voice again. Choose. No visuals this time, no prompts. Just the word burned into my brain like a command, like instinct. Choose. I don't know how long I stayed there, pressed against that wall, sweat dripping from my hair, my teeth chattering. I started whispering to it, apologizing, begging, promising to leave the city, to disappear, to die even, if that's what it wanted. But it doesn't want me dead. It wants me to participate. I started seeing her again. The girl from the chair. She shows up in flashes, in windows, in puddles, in the shine of metal pipes. Her mouth always taped, her eyes always wet. And every time I see her, she's closer. Last night I saw her standing at the foot of my bed. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. She didn't touch me, just stood there, head tilted, like she was waiting. Her eyes never blinked. I finally whispered something, anything, and she disappeared. But in the silence that followed, I heard another voice. Not hers, mine, screaming. I thought I could run again. Thought maybe if I destroyed every device in the city, set the towers on fire, burned every camera I saw, maybe then it would let go. I smashed a man's phone on the subway because I saw a flicker of red in the reflection on the screen. I tore down a bus stop ad because the eyes of the model followed me and bled when I looked too long. They arrested me. I didn't speak, didn't resist. In the holding cell, I sat in the corner and kept my eyes on the floor. I didn't tell them why. I didn't mention the room. But it found me even there. The security camera turned on by itself. No red light, no beep, but I knew. I felt the heat behind my eyes. I looked up once. The feed showed me, not in the cell, in the chair. A cop walked by, glanced at the monitor. He froze. Then he smiled, just slightly, and walked away. They released me the next morning without a word. No charges, no questions, just the key to my old apartment and a folded piece of paper. I opened it once I got back. There were 2 words. Your turn. The door was open before I even touched the knob. Inside, the walls had changed. No more plaster, just stone, damp, cold. The smell hit me first. Blood, rust, something sour beneath it all, like old skin. In the center of the room, the chair waited, not empty. There was a boy in it this time, no older than 12, gagged, bruised, his feet dangled. He looked at me with this confused animal fear, like he couldn't understand why this was happening, only that it was, and I was part of it. I stepped back, tried to run. The hallway was gone. Just darkness. Behind me, the room breathed. The voice came again. Choose. There was no escape this time. I screamed, clawed at the walls, beat my fists until my knuckles split. The boy sobbed, muffled, blood running down his chin. I fell to my knees, and the tools appeared, not laid out, grown. From the wall, from the floor, from my own hands, rust-covered pliers, a hammer with hair still stuck to it, a bone saw that vibrated like it wanted to be used. The room lit up. The stream was live, and I was the only player left. Choose. I told myself I wouldn't do it. No matter what the room showed me, no matter how loud it screamed or how many faces it wore, I wouldn't give it what it wanted. I wasn't like the others. I wasn't a torturer. I wasn't one of them. But the room waits. That's what it does. It waits, and it watches, and it whispers until the part of you that still thinks you're human starts to decay. I don't know how long I sat on that cold floor with the boy crying in the chair. Time doesn't work in the room. There's no day or night, just the red and the cold and the sound of your own breath echoing like you're already buried alive. At first I kept my eyes closed. I turned my face from him. I recited old songs in my head, tried to remember the smell of coffee, of rain on pavement, anything that made me feel like I still existed outside the room. But then I started to wonder if there was still a world out there at all. What if this was it? What if this was all that had ever been and I'd just forgotten? What if everything else, the job, the streets, the sun, was just a dream the room let me have before it pulled me back in? That thought broke something in me. When I opened my eyes again, the boy had stopped crying. He was just staring, not at me, through me, like he already knew what I would do. The tools hadn't moved, still waiting where they grew from the stone, as if the room itself had made them. I crawled over to them and picked up the hammer. My hands trembled, but not from fear anymore, from the weight of decision. I stood in front of him, I raised the hammer, and I didn't swing. Instead, I turned it on the wall. I brought it down on the stone again and again, screaming, blood spraying from my torn knuckles. I thought if I could break through it, find air, find anything beyond this red place, I could still escape. But the wall just absorbed it. The hammer cracked, my bones cracked. The room didn't care. The boy kept watching. Then something changed. I heard footsteps behind me. I turned, expecting the faceless thing, the one who always held the knife. But it wasn't that. Calm, clean, unblinking, watching. This version of me walked slowly to the chair, placed a hand on the boy's head, and whispered something in his ear. The boy nodded once. No fear now, just understanding. Then the other me turned to look at me and smiled. I backed away, the real me, the me who was still breaking, still bleeding, still trying to fight. The copy stepped forward, reached out, touched my face. It didn't speak, but I heard the voice anyway. It said the only way to end it is to take the chair. Not fill it, take it, become it. Be the thing that watches, that chooses, that remembers every scream and carries them forever. It said the stream needs a guide, someone to control it, someone to hold it back, or someone to feed it more. I didn't say yes. I didn't say anything, but the room accepted me. I blinked, and I was in the chair, not strapped, not bound, sitting. Above me, 1,000 windows opened at once. Each one showed a different person, a different room, a different choice. Some screamed, some begged, some laughed. The room moved through them like a parasite through veins. I saw her again, the girl, still 10, still crying. I saw the boy, still waiting. I saw hundreds of others, and I saw myself in all of them, not watching, playing. The tools are gone now. I don't need them. I see with the room's eyes. I speak with its voice. I don't sleep, I don't eat, I don't move. I stream, and they come. They always come. At first they're curious, then afraid, then screaming, then choosing, some last days, some only minutes, but they all end the same. They see the red, they feel the pull, they beg for it to stop. And I ask them one question. The only question that matters, the same one you're hearing now. Choose, because the chair is never empty for long. And maybe next time it's you in it, not watching, but waiting. I shouldn't be telling you this. My hands are shaking as I type, and every creak in my apartment makes me flinch. But I need to get this out before it eats me alive. I stumbled into something on the dark web, something I can't unsee, and it's changed me forever. If you're reading this, I'm sorry, because once you start, you won't be able to stop. It's like a hook in your brain, pulling you deeper, and I'm about to drag you into the same nightmare I can't escape. It started with boredom, the kind that makes you reckless. I'd been messing around on the dark web for a while, mostly out of curiosity. I knew the basics, how to use Tor, how to bounce my connection through VPNs, how to avoid the obvious scams. I'd seen some weird stuff, but nothing that kept me up at night. That night, though, I was restless, clicking through onion links on a hidden wiki, looking for something to jolt me out of my stupor. I found a post in a forum, buried under a thread about urban legends. No title, just a string of numbers and a single word. Watch. There was a link, and against every instinct screaming at me to close the tab, I clicked it. The page loaded slowly, a black screen with a buffering icon that spun endlessly. My heart was already pounding, like I knew I'd crossed a line. When the video finally started, it was grainy, shot in a room with concrete walls and a single flickering bulb hanging from the ceiling. The camera was fixed, unblinking, focused on a metal chair bolted to the floor. There was no sound at first, just the faint hum of static. Then I heard footsteps, heavy and deliberate, coming from off-screen. A man walked into the frame, and my stomach dropped. He was huge, easily over 6 feet, wearing a black hoodie and a cheap plastic mask, the kind you'd get at a dollar store for Halloween. The mask was a smiling face, but the eyes were cut out, showing nothing but darkness where his should have been. He didn't speak, didn't acknowledge the camera. He just stood there holding a duffel bag that sagged under its weight. My mouth went dry as he unzipped it and started pulling out tools. A hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty hacksaw, a blowtorch. He laid them out on a table next to the chair, arranging them with care, like a surgeon prepping for an operation. I wanted to close the window, but my hand wouldn't move. It was like the screen had me paralyzed. Then they brought her in. 2 more men, also masked, dragged a woman into the room. She was maybe in her 20s, wearing a torn t-shirt and jeans, her face streaked with tears and blood. Her hands were zip-tied behind her back and her legs buckled as they forced her into the chair. She was screaming, but the sound was muted, like the video was deliberately silencing her. One of the men tied her ankles to the chair legs with duct tape, while the other wrapped a rope around her chest, pinning her in place. She thrashed, her head whipping back and forth, but it was useless. The big man in the hoodie just watched, motionless, as the others left the frame. I should have stopped it there. I should have smashed my laptop and burned it. But I didn't. I kept watching, my breath shallow, my heart slamming against my ribs. The man picked up the pliers first. He grabbed her hand, forcing her fingers to splay out, and clamped the pliers around her pinky nail. He didn't rush. He twisted slowly, pulling until the nail tore free with a wet snap. Blood welled up, dripping onto the floor, and her body convulsed, her mouth open in a silent scream. He dropped the nail into a metal tray with a faint clink, then moved to the next finger. One by one he ripped them off, methodical, unhurried, like he was savoring it. I gagged, bile rising in my throat, but I couldn't look away. The woman's hands were a mangled mess, her fingers swollen and bleeding, but he wasn't done. He picked up the hammer next, hefting it in his hand. He swung it down on her knee, and I saw the bone shatter, the joint collapsing inward like a crushed can. Her leg twitched unnaturally, the skin splitting where the bone poked through. He hit the other knee, then her elbows, each blow precise, reducing her limbs to useless, broken things. Blood pooled under the chair, thick and dark, spreading across the concrete. The blowtorch came next. He lit it with a hiss, the blue flame steady as he brought it to her arm. The skin blistered instantly, bubbling and blackening as he moved the flame up her forearm. The smell! I couldn't smell it, but my brain filled in the blank, the sickly sweet stench of burning flesh. She was barely moving now, her head lolling to one side, but her chest still rose and fell. She was alive, and he wanted her to stay that way. He turned off the torch and grabbed the hacksaw. I won't describe what he did with it. I can't. My mind recoils every time I try to put it into words, but I saw every cut, every slow, deliberate drag of the blade through muscle and bone. Blood sprayed across his mask, smearing the plastic smile, but he didn't flinch. He worked like an artist, carving her apart while she twitched and bled. By the time he stepped back, she was unrecognizable, a ruined thing still strapped to the chair. He tilted his head, admiring his work, then walked off screen. The video ended abruptly, the screen going black. I sat there staring at the blank screen, my body numb. I don't know how long I stayed like that. Minutes, maybe hours. My apartment was silent, but I felt like something was watching me. I finally forced myself to move, shutting my laptop and shoving it under my bed like that would make it go away. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her. Saw the blood, the tools, that smiling mask. The next day, I tried to act normal. I went to work, smiled at my coworkers, but it was like I was underwater, everything muffled and distant. I kept checking my phone, expecting, I don't know what, a message? A threat? That night, I couldn't resist. I pulled my laptop out and went back to the forum. The thread was gone, like it had never existed. I searched for hours, clicking through every link I could find, but there was no trace of it. I told myself it was fake, a snuff film staged for sickos like me who'd stumbled into the wrong corner of the internet. But I didn't believe it. Days passed, and I started noticing things. My webcam light would flicker on for no reason. I'd hear faint tapping sounds at night like something brushing against my window. Once, I found my laptop open on my desk when I was sure I'd left it closed. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping. I kept seeing that mask in my dreams, those empty eyes staring at me. I was falling apart, and I knew it was because of what I'd seen. Then, last night, I got an email. No sender, no subject, just a link. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely click it. It took me back to the same black screen, the same buffering icon. When the video loaded, it was the same room, the same chair, the same flickering bulb. But this time, the camera panned slowly across the walls. They were covered in photos, hundreds of them, pinned up like trophies. Faces, some smiling, some screaming, some I couldn't even recognize as human anymore. And then the camera stopped, zooming in on one photo in particular. It was me. I don't know how they got it. I don't know who they are. But the man in the hoodie walked into the frame holding the same duffel bag. He looked at the camera, at me, and raised a hand, beckoning. The video cut off, but not before I saw the tools laid out on the table, waiting. I haven't left my apartment since. I've unplugged my router, smashed my webcam, but it doesn't matter. I hear footsteps outside my door at night, heavy and deliberate, just like in the video. My phone keeps buzzing with notifications from apps I never installed, showing me glimpses of that room, that chair. I don't know how much time I have left, but I know they're coming for me. And when they do, I'll be strapped to that chair, and no one will hear me scream. I'm sorry for telling you this. I just needed someone to know. But now you're part of it too. You can't unsee what I've described, can't unfeel the hook in your brain. They're watching, and they know you're reading this. Close your laptop, turn off your phone, but it won't help. They've already found you. I haven't slept in days. Not really. My eyes burn, and my head feels like it's splitting open, but every time I close my eyes, I see that room, the concrete walls, the flickering bulb, the chair. I thought writing it down would help, like confessing would purge the poison from my mind, but it's only made things worse. The moment I finished typing that first account, the air in my apartment changed, grew heavier, like someone was breathing just behind me. I'm alone, I know I am, but it doesn't feel that way. They're here somehow. And now that you're reading this, they're with you too. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pull you deeper, but I can't stop. I need you to know what's happening, because if they take me, someone has to remember. After I saw that photo of myself pinned to the wall in that video, I tried to disappear. I threw my laptop into a dumpster 3 blocks away, wrapped in a garbage bag and buried under takeout containers. I bought a burner phone, paid in cash, and swore I'd never touch the internet again. I even moved, crashing on a friend's couch across town, lying about a gas leak in my apartment. I thought distance would help, that I could outrun it. But the dark web doesn't work like that. It's not a place you leave behind. It's a stain that follows you. The first night at my friend's place, I thought I was safe. His apartment was on the 5th floor, locked tight, with a deadbolt and a chain. I was lying on the couch, staring at the ceiling, when I heard it. A faint tap, like a fingernail against glass. I froze, my heart hammering so hard I thought it would burst. The sound came again, sharper, from the window. I forced myself to look, but there was nothing, just the city skyline, lights blinking in the dark. I told myself it was the wind, a branch, anything normal. But then my burner phone buzzed. I hadn't given the number to anyone, hadn't even powered it on until that morning. The screen showed a single notification, a video file downloaded from nowhere. My hands shook as I opened it. It was the room again. The same chair, the same bulb, but this time it wasn't empty. A man was strapped to the chair, middle-aged, balding, his face swollen and bruised. He was gagged with a strip of duct tape, his eyes wide with terror, darting around the room. The man in the hoodie was there, his plastic mask smeared with dried blood, the smiling mouth grotesque under the flickering light. He held a scalpel this time, the blade catching the glow as he twirled it between his fingers. He didn't speak, didn't make a sound, just stepped closer to the man in the chair. What happened next was worse than the first video. The hooded man didn't rush, didn't hesitate. He pressed the scalpel to the man's cheek and sliced, slow and deliberate, peeling back a strip of skin like it was paper. Blood poured down, soaking the man's shirt, and his body thrashed against the ropes, but he couldn't move. The hooded man worked with precision, cutting away pieces of flesh, first the cheeks, then the ears, then the lips. The gag muffled the screams, but I could see the man's chest heaving, his eyes rolling back as he fought to stay conscious. The hooded man stepped back, holding a flap of skin up to the camera, letting it dangle like a trophy before tossing it into a bucket on the floor. Then he picked up a pair of bolt cutters. I won't describe the rest. I can't. My stomach churned and I vomited into the trash can next to the couch. The video ended with the hooded man staring into the camera, his empty eye holes locked on me, and then a single word flashed across the screen. Soon. I dropped the phone, my hands slick with sweat, and smashed it with a hammer from my friend's toolbox. I didn't care if I woke him up. I needed it gone. But as I sat there, panting, surrounded by plastic shards, I heard the tapping again, louder this time, coming from the front door. I didn't sleep that night. I sat with my back against the wall, clutching a kitchen knife, listening to every sound. My friend didn't notice anything wrong. He left for work the next morning, oblivious, while I stayed on the couch, jumping at every noise. I couldn't tell him. How do you explain something like this? That I'd stumbled into a corner of the internet where people are butchered for an audience I couldn't see? That they had my picture, my face, pinned to their wall like a hunting trophy? He'd think I was crazy, and maybe I am. The next night, it got worse. I was alone again, my friend out late, when the power in the apartment flickered. The lights dimmed, buzzed, then went out completely. I sat in the dark, gripping the knife, my breath shallow. Then I heard it, a low hum, like static coming from the living room. I crept toward the sound, my bare feet cold against the floor, and saw a faint glow coming from under the couch. I reached down, my fingers brushing against something smooth and warm. It was a phone, not mine, not my friend's. A sleek, black thing that shouldn't have been there. The screen was on, showing the same room, the same chair, but this time it was empty. The hooded man stood in the center, holding a piece of paper. He held it up to the camera, and I saw my friend's name written in jagged red letters. I don't know how I got through the next few hours. I called my friend, but his phone went straight to voicemail. I paced the apartment, the knife still in my hand, checking the locks, the windows, every shadow. When he finally came home, he was fine, laughing off my panic, saying his phone had died at a bar. But I saw something in his eyes, a flicker of unease, like he knew I wasn't telling him everything. I couldn't stay there after that. I grabbed my things and left, mumbling some excuse about needing to check on my apartment. I've been moving ever since, crashing in cheap motels, paying in cash, keeping my head down. But it's no use. Last night, I found another phone. It was in my motel room, tucked under the pillow like a sick gift. The screen was already on, showing a live feed of the room. The chair was empty, but the table was covered in tools, knives, drills, a syringe filled with something cloudy. The hooded man walked into the frame, his mask cleaner now, the plastic smile gleaming. He didn't do anything, just stood there staring at the camera. Then he pointed, not at the chair, but at me, his gloved finger steady. The feed cut to black and the phone shut off. I tried to turn it on, but it was dead, like it had never worked at all. I'm in another motel now, the kind of place where no one asks questions. The walls are thin, and I can hear the couple next door arguing, the hum of traffic outside. But there's another sound too. A faint tapping, like a fingernail on glass, coming from the bathroom. I haven't checked. I can't. I'm sitting on the bed, typing this on a stolen laptop I bought from a pawn shop, knowing it won't matter. They're closing in. I can feel it, like a noose tightening around my neck. Every shadow in this room feels alive, every noise a step closer to that chair. I don't know why they chose me. Maybe it was random, maybe I clicked the wrong link at the wrong time, but they have my face, my name, and now they have you too. You're reading this, and that's enough. The hook's in your brain now, pulling you toward that room. You'll start noticing things. Your webcam flickering, a strange email, a phone you don't recognize. You'll hear the tapping, feel the weight of their eyes. I'm sorry, but there's no way out. They don't let you go. They never let you go. I'm running out of places to hide. The motel room smells of mildew and cigarette smoke, but it's the silence that's killing me. It's too quiet now, no tapping, no hum of static, just the oppressive weight of waiting. My fingers tremble as I type this on the stolen laptop, its battery flickering at 3%. I don't know how much time I have left, but I can't stop. I need to finish this, to warn you, even though I know it's too late. You're reading this, and that means they've already marked you. The dark web doesn't forget, and neither do they. I'm sorry, but you're in this with me now, and there's no way back. After I found that phone under the motel pillow, I bolted. I didn't check out, didn't grab my bag, just ran, my sneakers pounding the pavement until my lungs burned. I ended up in a different city, hitchhiking with a trucker who barely spoke, his cab reeking of diesel and stale coffee. I thought distance would break the connection, that I could outrun the nightmare. But it's like they're sewn into my shadow. No matter where I go, they find me. I'm in a new place now, a rundown boarding house at the edge of nowhere. The walls are paper thin, and the guy in the next room coughs like he's hacking up his lungs. I paid cash for a week, told the landlord I was passing through. He didn't care, just took the money and handed me a key. The room's barely furnished, a sagging bed, a chipped nightstand, a single window with a cracked pane. I taped a blanket over it, but it doesn't help. I feel exposed, like eyes are boring into me from every angle. Last night, it happened again. I was lying on the bed, staring at the ceiling, when the laptop I'd bought from the pawn shop powered on by itself. The screen glowed blue, casting shadows that seemed to crawl across the walls. I hadn't touched it, hadn't even plugged it in. My heart sank as the browser opened, loading a page I hadn't seen before. It was the room again, that cursed concrete box with its flickering bulb and blood-stained floor. The chair was empty, but the table was different this time. Instead of tools, there was a single object. A photograph, face up, too blurry to make out at first. The camera zoomed in, and my breath caught in my throat. It was a picture of me standing outside the boarding house taken just hours ago. I was looking over my shoulder like I'd sensed something. The hooded man stepped into the frame, his plastic mask gleaming under the light. He picked up the photo, turning it toward the camera, and then crushed it in his gloved fist. He didn't move for a long time, just stood there, the empty eye holes of his mask staring through the screen. Then he reached off screen and pulled something into view, a duffel bag, the same one I'd seen before, sagging with weight. He unzipped it slowly, letting the sound of the zipper fill the silence. Inside were new tools, a meat cleaver, a handheld drill, a syringe with a needle so long it made my skin crawl. He laid them out, one by one, and then pointed at the camera again, his finger steady, accusing. The video didn't end there. The camera panned to the wall, where the photos were still pinned, a gallery of horror. But something was different. There were new faces, fresh ones, and among them, I saw my friend, the one whose couch I'd crashed on. His photo was recent, his eyes wide with fear like he'd been caught off guard. Below it was another picture, one I hadn't expected, a stranger, someone I didn't know, but the setting was familiar, a dimly lit room, a laptop open in front of them. It took me a moment to realize what I was seeing. It was you. I don't know how, but they'd captured you reading my words, your face illuminated by the screen. My stomach twisted as the hooded man tapped the photo, his finger lingering on your face. I slammed the laptop shut, my pulse roaring in my ears. I wanted to scream, to break something, but I just sat there, paralyzed. The room felt smaller, the air thicker, like it was closing in. Then I heard it. A low, rhythmic thump coming from the wall behind the bed. Not the neighbor's cough, not the pipes. It was deliberate, like someone knocking, testing the barrier between us. I grabbed the knife I'd been carrying, the blade dull but heavy in my hand, and backed into the corner. The thumping stopped, but then came the worst sound yet, a faint scrape, like metal dragging across concrete, coming from under the bed. I didn't look. I couldn't. I bolted for the door, fumbling with the lock, and ran into the hallway. The boarding house was dark, the other tenants asleep or gone, but I felt like I was being watched. I stumbled outside, the cold air biting my skin, and kept running until I found a 24-hour diner, its neon sign buzzing like a dying insect. I'm here now, hunched in a booth, typing this on the laptop I swore I'd never touch again. The waitress keeps refilling my coffee, her eyes lingering like she knows something's wrong, but I can't tell her. No one would believe me. The diner's windows reflect the street, and every time a car passes I flinch, expecting to see that mask in the glass. I keep checking my pockets, half expecting to find another phone, another link. I don't know how they're doing this, how they're tracking me, how they're getting into my head, but I know what's coming. The chair is waiting and they're saving it for me. I can feel it, like a countdown I can't see. And now there's you. I didn't mean for this to happen, but they've seen you too. Your face is on their wall, pinned next to mine, next to my friends, next to all the others. You're probably reading this on your phone or laptop, thinking it's just a story, but it's not. Check your webcam, your notifications, the shadows in your room. You'll start noticing things soon. The flicker of a screen, a sound that doesn't belong. They don't need your name or your address. They know you're here, reading this, and that's enough. I'm going to run again, but I know it's pointless. They're always one step ahead. Their reach infinite. Their patience endless. I've thought about going to the police. But what would I say? That I watched a video on the dark web and now I'm being hunted? They'd lock me in a psych ward and maybe that's where I belong. But I can't shake the image of that chair, the tools, the blood pooling on the floor. I can't stop hearing the scrape of metal, the thump of their footsteps. I'm sorry for dragging you into this. I thought telling someone would help, but all I've done is spread the infection. You're part of their game now and they don't play fair. If you hear tapping tonight, don't look. If your phone buzzes with a message you didn't expect, don't open it. But you will, won't you? Just like I did. The hook's in you, pulling you toward that room and there's no escaping it. They're coming for us both, and when they do, the last thing we'll see is that smiling mask, those empty eyes, and the chair waiting to claim us. I'm not sure how much longer I can keep this up. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely type, and the diner's fluorescent lights buzz like a swarm of flies in my skull. The coffee's gone cold in the chipped mug in front of me, and the waitress has stopped coming by, her glances replaced by a wary distance. I don't blame her. I must look like a ghost, hollow-eyed and twitching, hunched over this cursed laptop that I can't seem to abandon. I swore I'd stop writing, stop pulling you deeper into this, but I can't. It's like they're forcing my fingers to move, making me tell you everything, ensuring you're as trapped as I am. If you're still reading, I'm begging you to stop, but I know you won't. The hook's too deep, and they've got us both. I left the diner at dawn, when the sky was a sickly gray, and the streets were empty except for a stray dog that watched me with two knowing eyes. I didn't know where to go, just that I had to keep moving. My legs ached, my lungs burned, but I walked until I found a library, one of those old, crumbling buildings that smells of dust and forgotten books. I thought I could hide here, blend in among the stacks, lose myself in the quiet, but there's no hiding from them. The moment I sat down at a public computer, it happened again. The screen flickered, and before I could touch the keyboard, a browser opened on its own, loading that same black page with the spinning, buffering icon. My heart stopped. I glanced around, but the library was nearly empty. A bored librarian flipping through a magazine, an old man dozing over a newspaper. No one noticed the screen. No one saw what I saw. The video loaded, and there it was, the room, the concrete walls, the flickering bulb. The chair was occupied this time. It was my friend, the one whose photo I'd seen on the wall. His face was unrecognizable, swollen and purple, one eye sealed shut with blood. He was strapped down, his wrists raw from struggling, his clothes torn to rags. The hooded man stood over him, his plastic mask splattered with fresh blood, the smiling mouth twisted into something obscene. He held a power drill, the kind you'd see in a hardware store, its bit gleaming under the light. He pressed it to my friend's shoulder, and the sound, the high-pitched whine of the motor, the wet crunch as it tore through flesh and bone, made my stomach lurch. Blood sprayed, soaking the chair, the floor, the hooded man's hoodie. My friend's body convulsed, his head thrashing, but the ropes held him fast. The hooded man didn't stop. He drilled again, this time into the thigh, the bit grinding through muscle, blood pooling in dark, glistening puddles. I wanted to scream, to smash the monitor, but my hands were frozen, my eyes locked on the screen. The librarian didn't look up. No one heard the drill, no one saw the blood. It was like the video was playing just for me. When the hooded man finally stepped back, my friend was barely alive, his chest heaving weakly, blood dripping from the chair in a steady rhythm. The camera zoomed in on his face, his one open eye staring blankly, and then it panned to the wall. The photos were still there, but mine was gone. In its place was a new one, me, sitting in this library, at this exact computer, my face pale and drawn, caught mid-glance over my shoulder. Below it was your photo, clearer now, your eyes wide as you read my words. The hooded man tapped the photos, first yours, then the one of me, his gloved finger lingering like a promise. Then the screen went black, and the computer shut down. I stumbled out of the library, my vision blurring, my breath coming in gasps. The street was spinning, and I collapsed against a brick wall, vomiting into the gutter. I don't know how they're doing this, how they're everywhere, how they know every move I make. I've tried everything, ditching phones, smashing laptops, moving from place to place. But they're always there, waiting, watching. I can feel them now. Their presence like a weight on my chest, a shadow that moves when I move. I'm in a new hiding spot now, an abandoned warehouse I found after wandering for hours. The air is thick with dust, and the floor is littered with broken glass and rusted nails. I'm crouched in a corner typing this on the laptop I swore I'd left behind. I don't know how it got here. It was in my bag when I checked. Like it's following me too. The battery's dying, but I have to finish this. I have to tell you what's coming, even though I know it's pointless. As I was writing this, I heard it again. The tapping, faint but unmistakable, coming from the far side of the warehouse. It's not random anymore. It's a rhythm, like a code, taunting me. I clutched the knife, its blade nicked and useless, and crept toward the sound. The warehouse is a maze of crates and shadows, and every step felt like walking into a trap. I found the source, a rusted metal door, barely hanging on its hinges. The tapping stopped as I approached, but something was scratched into the surface, fresh and jagged, like it had been carved with a blade. It was an address, my address, the apartment I abandoned days ago. Below it was another address, one I don't recognize, but I know it's yours. I don't know how I know, but I do. I'm back in the corner now, the laptop balanced on my knees. The screen's glow, the only light in this rotting place. The tapping hasn't started again, but I can hear something else. A low hum, like static, growing louder. It's coming from the laptop, even though I've turned off the speakers. The screen flickers, and I'm terrified to look, but I know what's coming. They're going to show me the room again, the chair, the tools. They're going to show me my friend, or what's left of him, or maybe it'll be me this time, strapped down, staring into that smiling mask. I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know what they want. Maybe it's not about want. Maybe it's just what they do, like a spider spinning a web, catching whoever stumbles too close. I was the fool who clicked the link, and now you're the fool reading this. Your face is on their wall, your name in their game. You'll feel it soon. The flicker of your screen, the buzz of a phone you didn't touch, the tapping at your window. They're patient, relentless, and they don't stop. I'm going to run again, but I know it's over. The warehouse feels smaller now, the shadows thicker, like they're closing in. The hum is louder, the screen brighter, and I can't look away. I want to tell you to destroy your devices, to burn your house down and disappear, but it won't help. They've already found you. The hook's in you, just like it's in me, and the chair is waiting. I'm sorry, but there's no escape. They're here, and they're coming for us both. This is it. I don't have much time left. The warehouse is freezing, the air thick with the stench of rust and decay, and my fingers are numb as they stumble across the keys. The laptop screen is flickering, its battery icon pulsing red, but it won't die. Not yet. It's like they're keeping it alive, forcing me to finish this, to make sure you see it through to the end. I can hear them now. Not just the tapping or the hum, but footsteps, slow and heavy, echoing through the empty warehouse. They're close, and I know what's waiting for me. If you're still reading, you're as doomed as I am. I'm sorry. I tried to warn you, but the truth is you were never going to escape. Neither of us were. I stayed in the warehouse as long as I could, crouched in the dark, clutching the knife like it could save me. The address scratched into the door haunted me. My old apartment and yours, wherever you are. I didn't want to go back, but I had no choice. I thought if I could face it, maybe I could break the cycle, find a way to stop them. So I went. I took a bus back to my city, my hood up, my eyes darting to every shadow. The streets felt wrong, too quiet, like the world was holding its breath. When I reached my apartment building, it was abandoned, windows boarded up, the front door hanging open like a wound. Inside, the air was stale, thick with dust. My apartment was exactly as I'd left it, except for one thing. The laptop, the one I'd thrown in the dumpster, was sitting on my kitchen table, its screen glowing. I didn't touch it. I couldn't. I checked every room, every closet, my heart pounding so hard I thought I'd pass out. Nothing, just silence and that glowing screen. I finally forced myself to look at it. The browser was open, showing the room, concrete walls, flickering bulb, the chair. But this time, it wasn't a video. It was a live feed. The chair was empty, but the hooded man was there, his plastic mask smeared with blood, the smiling mouth mocking me. He stood motionless, holding a single tool, a long, thin knife, its blade catching the light. Behind him, the wall of photos had grown, dozens of new faces pinned up, their eyes wide with terror or blank with death. Mine was there, and so was yours, right next to each other. He reached out, tapping our photos with the tip of the knife, then turned to the camera. He didn't speak, but he raised his other hand, beckoning, the gesture slow and deliberate. The feed cut to black and the laptop shut off. I ran again, back to the streets, my mind unraveling. I ended up in a park, hiding in the shadows of a decaying gazebo, the laptop somehow still in my bag. I don't remember grabbing it, but there it was, like a parasite I can't shake. That's when I heard the hum again, low and steady, coming from everywhere and nowhere. I opened the laptop knowing I shouldn't, knowing it was a trap. The screen lit up and the room was there again. But this time, the chair wasn't empty. It was you. You were strapped down, your wrists and ankles bound with duct tape, your face pale and streaked with tears. The hooded man stood over you, his mask clean now, the plastic smile gleaming. He held the knife, twirling it between his fingers, and I could see your chest heaving, your eyes darting, searching for a way out. He didn't rush. He never does. He pressed the blade to your arm, slicing a thin line, blood welling up in its wake. You thrashed, but the ropes held you tight. He moved to your hand, pinning it to the armrest, and carved slowly, peeling back skin in thin, curling strips. The blood dripped onto the floor, pooling with the stains of everyone who'd come before. I screamed, slamming the laptop shut, but the sound didn't stop. It was in my head now, your muffled cries, the wet tear of flesh. I threw the laptop against the gazebo's wall, the screen shattering, but it didn't matter. The hum was louder, the air heavier, and then I saw him. Not on a screen, not in a video. He was there standing at the edge of the park, his mask glowing under a streetlight, his duffel bag slung over his shoulder. He didn't move, just stood there, watching me. I ran, my legs burning, my breath ragged, but every time I looked back, he was there, closer each time, his footsteps silent, but relentless. I'm in an alley now, wedged between a dumpster and a brick wall, the laptop somehow back in my hands, its cracked screen still glowing. I don't know how it's working, but I'm typing this because it's all I have left. The footsteps are louder now, echoing off the walls, and the hum is deafening, vibrating in my bones. I can see him at the mouth of the alley, his mask catching the dim light, his bag sagging with the weight of his tools. He's coming for me, and I know what's next. The chair, the ropes, the slow, deliberate pain. But it's not just me. It's you too. You're reading this, and that means they've got you. Maybe you're already in that room. Or maybe you're still at home thinking you're safe. You're not. Check your phone, your webcam, the shadows in your room. You'll see it soon. The flicker, the hum, the tapping. Your face is on their wall, your name in their game. They don't need to find you, they already have. The hook's in you, pulling you toward that chair, and there's no way out. I can hear the knife now, scraping against the brick, closer with every second. The air smells of blood and metal, and my hands are shaking so badly I can barely type. I'm sorry for dragging you into this, for making you read this far. I thought I could warn you, save you, but all I've done is hand you to them. The hooded man is here, his shadow falling over me, his mask smiling in the dark. The last thing I see is the glint of his blade, and the last thing I know is that you're next. They're coming for you, and when they do, you'll wish you'd never started reading. Thank you for listening. Hope I didn't scare you too much. If you like my stories, please consider giving me a like and subscribe. See you next time.